Welcome back to the Good, the Bad and the Ugly podcast with me, Tony Murrell, proudly sponsored by Super Resin. This week's special guest is Hayley Owens. Hayley brings a unique perspective, combining her time working in the police with her passion for fitness and training. In this episode, she opens up about her own journey and the challenges of separating fact from speculation in high-profile cases. We also dive into what TV dramas get wrong about policing and how her work now gives her a platform to educate and inspire others. Thanks for listening and watching this episode.
All that stuff that's in here, in my head, that I've seen over the last 20 years, I can't unsee it. I don't know when it's going to come back. Everyone was worried about me, my mum was worried about me, my marriage was coming to an end at that point, and it made me ill to the point where I thought I've got to get out of this.
Welcome to the Good, the Bad and the Ugly podcast with me, Tony Murrell, and this week's special guest is Hayley Owens. Really looking forward to sharing the Good, the Bad and the Ugly. How are we?
I'm alright, thanks.
Listen, lovely to meet you.
And you?
Coming all this way from Birmingham.
Yeah.
So a little trip down the M6.
Yeah, you had many brummies on before?
We've had a couple of people from them ways. I think we have. Telf, a bit late and stuff like that. But yeah, listen, reached out to you, Hayley, and you jumped at the chance. And I thought, you know what, seeing what you do on your podcast, but also the other side of what you've done before podcasting, what we're going to get into and stuff. And I just found you a very interesting person. And with all our guests, everyone has a story, and yours is very interesting. You know, a former homicide investigator to a podcaster. You know, your podcast is called Spin Justice, and that's absolutely flying. So I just want to let's get into it. You know, where you're from, where you grew up, family life and school life was like. So
I'm from Birmingham, born and bred, love it, proper council, like, you know, no airs and graces. School life was just, I was thinking about this morning because the GCSE results have been...
Today, yeah.
Well, it was yesterday for us.
Sorry.
And I was talking to one of my mates and she was like, oh, you know, he's not done too well in this and that. And I thought, oh, I've done shit at school. I've done so crap. Like, I hardly got any decent grades. But it didn't seem to matter too much back then. I just like left school and went and worked in an office for a couple of years. And then a job come up for West Midlands Police and you didn't need anything really. So I just went for it, and then I was 18, and that was it. I was there for 20 years.
20 years. But yeah. in school, what was school like for you? Did you have...
It was just like a social. Just went to see my mates.
And just have a laugh?
Yeah.
It's like, I think like all of us when we're in school, it's like... Do you know when you look back at it now, Hayley, when people say to you, it's a knuckle down, and you'll regret it and all that, and you go... And there's some things I wish I'd done better in, do you know what I mean? Computers, IT and stuff like that, because I'm fucking hopeless. But when you're in school, I think they're probably the best times of your life, aren't they, with your mates and stuff like that? You know what I mean? Do you have a good set of friends and stuff?
Yeah, and I'm still mates with them now.
Still mates to this day, yeah?
To this day. We're going away in a few weeks, all of us. We've just stayed together since school, but it was just for the social side. You know, like you say, things that you could have done better in. You can always relearn stuff, can't you? You can always pick stuff up if you think, oh, I want to go down that road, I'll just do that. I'm a bit like, I'm not anti-school. Like, my lads are at high school, both of them, but I'm not very strict with them. Yeah. I'm a bit like, just try your best and don't worry about it.
That's all you can do. If you try your best and you give your all, there's nothing more you can ask for, really, is there? But what was it like, you know, in school, as you started going through? Was there any funny bits and bobs going through school, or went towards the end of school, you know, any carry on or anything like that, or you can remember?
Do you know what? Like, I remember actually, my mum says to me, when I was in sort of primary school and then went off to secondary school, she was worried about me. She said, that first day when you went to high school, it's like you walked out the door in the morning and came back a different person. It was almost, she said, I was almost like borderline being bullied, almost timid, wouldn't stand up for myself. She said, and literally you walked out that door at the beginning of your high school, and when you come back, you were like a different person. And she said, you, from that day on, you've never took no shit. You've always stood your ground. And I don't really remember it too much, but she reminds me of it. And honestly, I just didn't really care too much about school. Yeah. I weren't naughty.
I didn't get in, a laugh and that,
I didn't get in any like, major trouble. Like, my mum never really got any calls or anything as such. But I just was there for the social side. I just wanted to have a laugh with my mates, go out after school, meet boys, and that was pretty much it. I couldn't wait to leave, don't get me wrong. I didn't want to stop on and do sixth form.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I was like, fuck this, I'm off.
You're out of there.
Yeah.
So career, like, obviously you left school, you went and worked in like, done a bit of office work for a couple of years.
Yeah, just literally as like an office junior.
Yeah.
Receptionist or whatever, you know, just doing a bit of, in fact, I was doing night school, doing a bit of a secretarial award thing to be like a personal assistant, because I just thought, oh, this is all right, I'll do this. But I seemed to keep getting made redundant. Like the one office I worked in, they went bust, and the next one I worked in, they went bust. I thought, fucking hell, this ain't for me.
This isn't for me.
This ain't for me. So back then, like, all the jobs used to come out on a Thursday in the Evening Mail, so just sat there circling all these jobs, thinking, what am I going to do? And I literally had no clue. I didn't think, oh, I want to do this or I want to do that. It was just, I actually worked in police custody for 13 years.
Yeah.
So that's what I applied to do at 18. And I worked in a custody block for 13 years.
What was it like? I mean, any custody suite or whatever, you know, up and down the country, but in Birmingham and stuff like that, was it an eye-opener, Hale?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it on the way up here, actually, because I was thinking about the good, the bad and the ugly of, like, the police days, because there is good days.
Yeah, yeah.
100%. Like, there definitely was good days, but there's probably a lot of bad and a lot of ugly, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But you see, in the nicest possible way, I don't know how I can say this, but you see the dregs of society day in, day out. But you also see some real decent people, you know, coming in for, whether it's a domestic with a partner or a drink drive maybe, you know, just little bits like that.
They've made like a mistake.
Yeah,
and,
yeah. And you get talking to some fascinating people.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then, you know, you get to like some of the rogues as well. You can't help it. Like,
yeah, yeah. But in that custody suite, like you say there, one day to it's not the same, is it?
Never, ever was any day the same. You wouldn't know what you're walking into.
It's crazy that, because obviously in most jobs you go in, you know what your day-to-day routine is, but we've had a few ex-police officers on and stuff, and they said like their job roles were just absolutely, you couldn't say that yesterday is going to be the same as today, you know what I mean, or the next day. It's just you don't know what you're going to be hit with. No, you just don't know what you're going to be hit with.
Absolutely. And you work shifts as well, so like you could be fighting with someone at 7 a.m, because that's just like when your shift starts, and
as soon as you've walked in.
As soon as you walk in, you could be on the floor with someone, or you could be cutting someone down from trying to hang themselves, or getting a blade off someone and covered in blood. And it's like, fucking, I don't even have me fucking cornflakes yet. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Mad. And, you know, so for 13 years you were in the custody suites and stuff like that. And then, is that where, like, it drove you towards the homicide stuff, was it, or?
Yeah, I had to get out of there in the end. It made me ill towards the end. I've talked about this on a couple of others. I did Sean Atwood's recently, and we really digged into this. But I was hyper vigilant because I was being exposed to terrible things every day. What the normal person might look at 1% of what's going on. It was 100% of my world, because I was doing it 6 days, 4 off, 6 on, 4 off. Because you're spending so much time at work and seeing such bad things, I became really hyper vigilant and hypersensitive. So it really came to the fore when I had my kids and was booking in like sex offenders every day. And at that point, I thought, I've got to get out of this, because I weren't letting them out my sight. Even still to this day.
Yeah.
They've never really... I mean, my eldest is 15 now.
But you still, like, some of my kids are nearly 30 and 24, do you know what I mean? And even when they go out, you worry, like, you know what I mean? They're still your kids and stuff like that. But, you know, going back to what you're saying there about... Because I've said this to a couple of people who've been on Uber ex-officers and stuff, and that balance of trying to switch, like, where... Like Jay Darkmore, he is a good example. He said to me, he could switch. He could go home and just switch off. There were some things that he couldn't. But like for you, what you're saying there, where it's just relentless. Yeah. And you haven't got that balance, but where your family needs your time and needs your love and stuff like that, where what you're dealing with 6 days a week, but now having 4 off, then 4 off, you want to be like spending family time and doing family things together, but also your mind's probably doing overtime, because what you've witnessed and what you've dealt with, then you just can't switch. Is that what it was like for you? Yeah, it was eating into my home life, and now I've had like over a decade's worth of therapy, so I can switch off now. Yeah. But back then, you know, my kids were babies. I was young, skint, knackered, and
had to work, if there was overtime, I'd do a bit of overtime because, you know, it was all right money. But then it took its toll on me. So let's just say I'm on those 4 days off and I'm walking through the park with a pushchair and the dog, and I see an old man walking towards me. I think, oh, it's 9:15, he's probably got bail conditions because he's not allowed out till the schools are in.
You're just questioning everything?
Straight away, he's probably just going to buy paper, do you know what I mean? But
that's your instinct, that's what you're thinking, isn't it?
Yeah. And then I can instantly recognise a drug user, or, do you know what I mean? It's just like, it was just...
You couldn't switch off, basically.
Couldn't switch off from it. And it made me ill to the point where I thought, I've got to get out of this. Everyone was worried about me. My mum was worried about me. My marriage was coming to an end at that point. And I just thought, I've got to get out. Can't do this.
Was your friends as well saying to you, look, Hayley, you need to... Or, you know, you've got good friends around you.
Yeah. I don't think I ever really...
Open up? Did you not
opened up that much to them? But since I
because
have...
Because
it's like, you know, when you're going through the motions, you're just going through it, aren't you? It's not like you're thinking, oh, I need to talk to someone about this. And I definitely hadn't had any sort of therapy then, so I didn't know what to do.
Right.
But since like now, I'd know what to do. But back then, I was just sort of like lost.
How was it that you found therapy? But, you know, was that just... I
had to. I needed some help. I was like, this is not
Did
normal.
someone put you onto it, or did you just...
I went to the doctors. The doctors, and they put me they just gave me like an NHS external thing that you had to self-refer to. And there was a waiting list for 9 months. So I had to wait for like all that time to get some sort of like counselling. And then once they spoke to me, they said there was like 2 levels. There was a level 2 and a level 3. And once I started talking to them and telling them like what the problems were, they were like, you need some really in-depth therapy. So we're going to start you off on the most basic so we don't lose you out the system, so that we've got you every week. But then you're still on a waiting list for the next level.
Oh, that's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what was that while you were, you know, in the custody, or was that part when you were in the homicide side?
No, that was the custody days.
That was the custody days, was it? So that led you to the homicide investigation?
Yeah, so basically I thought, oh, I've got to get out of this, get out of custody. And a job came up internally within West Midlands Police as a civilian investigator on homicide. So I was like, sound, I'll do this. There's no shifts. You know, I'm going to be at home a little bit more.
Days? Was it just days?
It was Monday to Friday with like 1 weekend in like 6 to start with. And then it went to 1 weekend in 8. So it was sound because... like, I was used to working all sorts. Yeah,
like you said, 6 on 4
yeah,
off.
Yeah, early, late, nights. Didn't know whether I was coming or going. So I thought, yeah, this is wicked. I'll just do that. And I'd had quite a bit of therapy at this point. And funny enough, seeing all the dark stuff on homicide, none of that ever really bothered me. It was all the custody days that sort of broke me.
Yeah, because that's mad, that, because that's what I was going to say to you. You know, from going from the custody, like working in the custody suite for 13 years, but when you think about homicide and what you got when you get there, you might have this could have been, someone could have been shot, or could have been a murder of some kind, or whatever it is. And when you actually get there and you see that, and you're thinking, you would normally think that's going to be a lot worse than what you were doing in the custody suite, but it didn't really affect you in later life. It didn't really affect you.
No, I feel like I learnt to compartmentalise at this point. So I was probably, you know, a while into my therapy and stuff, and a murder would come in and we'd deal with the murder, and then as soon as I clocked out, I never thought about it. And that's with Jay saying
switching off.
That's what I did, and that's what I learnt to do, and I still do it now.
Yeah. It's scary because obviously, you know, up and down the UK, you know, you're hearing about so many homicide cases, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. But obviously, you've probably dealt with hundreds. You know, is there any that really stick out for you, Hayley?
Oh, there's so many. Yeah, there is. I've talked about a few of them recently. There's one there's a documentary made about it. What's it called? House of Horrors. It's on Amazon. To all intents and purposes, there was a missing persons case, and when she hadn't been found for like a couple of weeks, and then when you're dealing with what's called a MISPA, for like, so a missing person, you're looking for proof of life. Are the phones being used? Is the bank account being used? Etc. etc. When there's no proof of life for a certain amount of time, obviously it starts going from a missing person case to a potential homicide, and it came from that department to us. But there was no body. We were just investigating a murder without a body. And there was some real good work by a lot of the local police, where she'd been last seen in a bar with someone, and he'd got quite distinctive tattoos. Anyway, this bloke was like walking around shopping a couple of weeks later with these tattoos, and one of the local PCSOs noticed him and phoned the police. Anyway, long story short, the police turned up and arrested him for, I think, kidnapped to start with. And when they went and searched the house, she weren't there, but I think there was evidence that she'd been there, potentially.
Yeah.
Anyway, he had killed her. And he'd dismembered her and chopped her up and like put her in different parts all over like some woodlands. But she weren't found for weeks after.
Do you know what? Being like, homicide investigator, that must be when you're going to the scene or whatever, and you're thinking we haven't got a body, but there's obviously evidence that she's been there and stuff like that, and it's like you're trying to solve, this case or this murder and what, because at the time obviously you didn't know, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But it must be so hard to finding that piece to the puzzle. Was that what it was like for you?
It is like a puzzle. It is massively like a puzzle, and everyone as well, especially with an investigation of most kinds, it's like a big jigsaw puzzle, and everyone's got a little piece. So it might be, you might go and take a statement from someone that's, I don't know, walking down the road, walking the dog, say, that's walked past someone. That's one piece of the puzzle. Then there's a bit of CCTV, there's a bit of phone work.
You can put it all together.
All together makes up the puzzle, yeah, exactly like that.
And when it comes together,
it's great.
That feeling,
yeah,
it's
great.
It's just unbelievable. Is it like, this is what you were in the job for to do and stuff like that?
Yeah, it is. And that's the good,
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the bad side of it is obviously, families affected, and it's just, I couldn't imagine, my missus watches all kinds of homicide stuff, and you know what I mean, and I just like in the background, and I'll see it and I go, fucking hell, that's a bit. Yeah. But when you see like these real, like these documentaries or these things on, like Amazon and stuff like that, you think, why do people, people are just, you don't know where their head's at, and the lengths that you just said there, like dismember the body, cut it up and stuff like that, and all over woodlands. I just think, what the fuck goes through people's minds? And the people you must have dealt with as well. You must have dealt with some, right wrong ones and stuff like that over the years. Yeah,
and it's really hard to describe, because some people, yes, they've killed someone, but they're not necessarily like a bad person. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes, for example, let's say a woman's been abused and she's had enough and she's snapped and she's killed him, or vice versa, from the man to the woman. Do you know what I mean? Like I think that's an understandable crime. I can see how you've got to that. If you've been abused for 20 years, you've just fucking snapped. I can get my head around that, but there's some that you can't ever get your head around.
You can't justify. I mean, say justify, but people go, oh, you can't justify that. But like, I understand where you're coming from with that. I understand that what you're saying. Where some people for so long, it's like that thing, you're poking the lion in the cage, and in the end, the lion just snaps, and you know what I mean. But like you say there, when people have done like these horrific crimes, murders and stuff like that, and they're just blasé as if nothing's happened. How do you cope with that in that type of, at that time? Is it just you just have to do your job. You can't. I mean, it's not for us to understand like why. You can't take it on personally.
No, and sometimes you'll never get to the bottom of it. Sometimes you will never get to the bottom of why they've done what they've done. You can put together what evidence you've got, and there might be some circumstantial evidence that sort of like fills in some of the gaps. But sometimes you'll never know.
And when they say, I'm not going to tell you where they are, or they just don't tell you.
Yeah.
That must be so
frustrating.
But obviously for the families as well. Do you know what I mean? I think that's obviously probably the
family side of things hard, because I did quite a bit of work with families as a family liaison, and that's quite a difficult job, because you take on their grief and you're with them for months. You're with them from like the off till the trial, if there is one.
And you go to the trial and stuff.
Yeah, with them. And then you've got to prepare them for what they're about to see. If they're going to see CCTV or hear about post-mortems.
Details and stuff that they've probably not heard about. And, you know, that must be, you know, horrific, you know what I mean? And it's, like you're saying, that one sticks out for you. But like you said, there's probably hundreds more, you know, which, you know, we'd be here all night talking about. But that one sticks out for you, is it really?
That one sticks out because it was borderline, like, serial killer-ish. Do you know what I mean? Like, what if you hadn't been caught?
But you know, go and do it again.
It was borderline. That was. And I remember thinking, oh, this ain't a normal one. You get a lot of gang related. You get shootings. You get gang stabbings. It's all to do with money, drugs, sex, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Relationships, domestics. There's a lot of them.
There's a lot of that. Like, but when you get one of them ones where, like you just said, borderlines, like you know what I mean. It's sort of what's the name. But homicide work is intense. How did you cope with the emotional and psychological pressures?
Well, at this point, I'd had like a bit of therapy, and I had to get into exercise. I had to. It's the only sort of thing that's levelled me out.
Switch off. Does that take your mind?
Yeah. So I had to get into the gym. So I started going to the gym and just, you know, doing whatever. I can't even remember what it was back then. Probably circuits or a bit of body pump or whatever. And I became almost addicted to it. I was going like every day. I knocked the drink on the head for a bit because that don't help, does it, if you can't sleep and all of that. So I was all right, you know. I could switch off. The police don't help you. The police do not help you. You have, and I don't know if they've changed now. I don't think they have because I've just recently spoke to someone that's off sick, who's still there. You have to source it yourself. And that is a real like gripe of mine. Do you know what I mean? Because they should be looking after people more.
You have a duty of care. You know, the job's hard enough as it is. You just, you know, as a police officer or, you know, investigator and stuff like that, you just have a, you know, serving the public and, you know, a duty to, but then it's your welfare and how you're being. And then again, I'm going to go back speaking about Jay, who we had on a previous podcast. We had John Wedger on as well. And John Wedger was like saying the same. He could see things which it was there to see, and like, I'm not in a good place here, you know what I mean? And I'm trying to do my job, but I'm struggling. And he just didn't want to know, and it just seems to be the same thing now, Hayley, now, and you're saying it as well, and I just find it outrageous, especially, you know, an emergency service like the police. You'd think there'd be things put in place for them for the welfare of their officers, you know, men and women and stuff, but like you say, it's just non-existent.
And the thing is as well, it's not the environment where you could speak up. It's not the environment where you could say, oh, I'm really struggling with this. Like maybe in between, like you and your mate. Like mates have said to me, like, I'm struggling with this. And actually, that job that I've just talked about, one of my mates did struggle with that, and he was like, I'm going home and I'm thinking about this. And I was like, I'm not. As soon as I like clock off, it's gone. I don't think about it.
Yeah.
I was too far gone at that point, completely like disconnected.
It's good. I mean, I would say it's good. It's because everyone's different, aren't they? And like you said, they're your friends. Like, because I'll be honest, if it was me, you know, if I see, you know, something like that, I can forget about something. You know what I mean? Oh, I can forget about.
Yeah.
But something like that, where there's, you know, like what you were explaining before, you know, there's evidence of blood and whatever and all that. I think that'd stick with me. Do you know what I mean? But then you've got to have that balance where you can try and switch off and that, and everyone's different. But like you say, it's that thing again, speaking out. And I think people do worry about speaking out, especially, I don't know, is it that like that thing where, you know, you've got to try and put that front on, and especially in that, you know, that type of job, you've got to be strong within that job because you're dealing with different things every day. But
you're still a human at the end of the day.
Still a human being, yeah. That's what I wrote to say, yeah.
And you can't help it. Like, and actually, some of the most unusual or the unexpected jobs might get you. But you might think, boy, has that affected me?
That's caught me there, that one.
Yeah, and it might be something like that you wouldn't expect. But I mean, there's a stigma around talking about it. There still is. And I was fine. I mean, when I worked in the custody block, I didn't talk about it. Because people are just like, just get on with it. But you can't deal with that many people with that many issues for that amount of time and not be affected.
Relentless, isn't it?
Yeah. And then deal with that many murders. And I suppose for me, like, almost adult murders where I was like, whatever. Kids, yeah, it's a different story.
Yeah.
And I remember like driving home from work crying, you know, dealing with like a child death. Just awful, you know, and then because there's a few that stick out, you know, you just think like, you almost like compare, so like, I think, oh, my son's the same age, or, you know, like...
It hits home, doesn't it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like you're saying, and I don't think you're being what's name about adults and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Obviously, it's sad when anyone loses their lives, but when anything to do with kids, is it, you know, for any, you know, because you sort of relate going, my kid's the same age, or, you know, or my kids go, you know, they're out playing football, or they're out, you know, doing what kids do and all that.
Yeah.
They've not been knocked over or whatever and stuff. And that's what your kids do.
Yeah.
So you sort of go, it hits home a little bit, doesn't it? You know what I mean? It's even like when I used to watch the news, I don't really watch the news and whatever, you know what I mean? And because it's full of shite anyway. But but when you see something like that, and it's just, it like, wow, it grips you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for you to deal with that, it's probably, you know, so much harder for yourself, you know what I mean? But
definitely. I remember, like, I spoke about this recently it might have been on Sean's. There was a young girl, she was 8, her dad stabbed her to death. And the police went, so it was uniform that went out to start with, because it tends to come to homicide after. So like the emergency like response would go out, so the 999 responders would go out. And like the body cam's like here, yeah? Well, if they're like leant over doing CPR, you could just imagine where the view is. And then you're having to watch that then. It's just heartbreaking. I remember a lad that I worked with at the time watched all the body-worn footage and dished it out, like, and he gave me, like, not those ones. He kept some, like, the bad ones for himself, because he'd seen them all then. So he watched them all and thought, right, so Hayley can have them.
you think you could pick up on something, some detail,
yeah,
or whatever?
Like I'd make, because there might be, like, I don't know, a witness being interviewed on body-worn a bit later on, so he'd give me that one.
So
like, you watch that one.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to watch it, and I was so grateful, because I thought, I don't want to see that.
Yeah. And you know, when you say it like that, Hayley, it's like, I think people don't understand, is like, when we have things like that go on, there's human beings that have got to, you know, you're trying to catch the perpetrator, who's obviously, you know, you want them accountable for what they've done, but then, like, especially that, you know, saying like an 8-year-old girl being, you know, that's horrific. And like you say, there was one, you've dealt with so many cases which, you know, probably still, you know, you're dealing with it, but you've probably thought, fucking hell, you know, how can somebody do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's inexcusable with a child.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I said about this, sometimes there's an understandable crime, you know, whatever. If there's a gang-related crime, you play with fire, you're going to get burnt. If that's the
if you're involved,
in,
and all that, yeah,
then it's, you know, it's going to come with the job, isn't it? But kids are innocent and they don't deserve any of that.
They haven't lived their life, you know, they've got their whole lives ahead of them, and
and then I think that was a real struggle.
Yeah.
Real struggle for me.
I think a lot of people probably, you know, struggle with something, you know, along them lines, because when you're talking about that, it's just stuck with me when you said about the body cam.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's so, like, you know, picks up everything, and the work that's got to go into that, obviously, between, you know, the office and stuff like that you've got to try and, you know, it could be a witness in the background, or...
Yeah, it's another piece of that puzzle. It's another piece of the puzzle. So it's like, that's got to go there, and someone's got to watch that, and someone's got to listen to the 999, and someone's got to... Do you know what I mean? Like, 999 calls are actually really distressing. People don't realise they have to be listened to and transcribed by investigators. And when people are in such a panic, you can't always hear very clearly what they're saying, so you have to rewind it and listen to it again, and rewind it and listen to it again. And it's honestly, they're really distressing.
Like that job on its own, like you're saying there, it's like, you know, there could have been an incident or whatever, and you're having to, you know, someone's screaming and you know, hysterical and all that. And there
was one, and it was two brothers, and one brother had stabbed the other brother in the leg, femoral artery killed him, but his 10-year-old lad phoned the ambulance. So you can imagine, and I'd got that job to listen to that 999 call, so for literally fucking days, I'm just listening to this poor lad sobbing, trying to get help for his dad. And he's just sobbing on the phone and and they're saying they're trying to get information out of him, and he's only 10. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't know what he's supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can imagine, do you know what I mean? It's like, when you describe stuff like that, I think people will, they'll understand it. It's a job in itself, just like what goes, you're trying to get to the bottom of it all. But that's when you're just telling us that story about that young lad and his dad. That's heartbreaking. But do you know what I wanted to ask you about? This is a bit tight, but... Now then, everyone, sorry for interrupting this episode. Here's a message from our sponsor, Super Resin. They are specialists in resin driveways and flooring across North Wales and the North West. Whether it's a driveway, worktop or flooring, they've got you covered. For 10% off, use the code TGTBTU. Now let's get back to the episode. TV dramas on the telly. What did they get completely wrong in homicide work? Because you must see them on the telly and go, what? If that was me, whatever. Do you ever do that?
I do, and I love a lot, like your missus watching the stuff. I actually do still like it. I even, just recently, I've been watching 24 Hours in Police Custody, and I've really got into them because I thought they're actually, they're really good. But there was one recently, it was Stephen Graham, and it was Adolescence.
Yeah.
Brilliant acting, absolutely fantastic, really good story. But I was like, this would never happen in a month of Sundays. The kid's been locked up. He's been taken to the custody block. His solicitor's there. He's been interviewed all within about 40 minutes. I was like, this would never happen. This just wouldn't happen. So that, you do find yourself shouting at the telly going, come on.
Yeah. But a lot of people had mixed reviews. That a lot of people said it was, because obviously knife crime and stuff.
Yeah.
And your take on knife crime as well, Hayley. You've got, it's, I think up and down the UK, it's completely out of control.
Oh yeah.
It's absolutely, in Liverpool, Birmingham, Manchester, London, just all over the UK. It's just, and what can people do about it? You know what I mean? There's that tougher laws, or we keep saying this about anyone caught with a blade and stuff. We had two mums on who had the sons both stabbed to death, and that was tough. When they were saying they wrote like to the local councils and this, and worked with the local police and all that, and they just don't seem to be getting anywhere. And we're still seeing more and more kids losing their lives due to knife crime.
I'm linked in with quite a few people, either through the police days or people I've been in touch with since doing my own podcast. So I went to Knife Crime Awareness Week in Parliament in May. It was in May. And again, I connected with more people. I've done a knife crime episode on my own channel since as a result of that. Everyone's got a petition out. Everyone's pushing a campaign. Seems like no one's listening. And then it's like, there's only so much you can do. Like the knife crime episode I did, she's a defence solicitor, and she's trying to push a petition so that criminal offences and their consequences are brought into schools and taught mandatory. So, let's start now in school and start teaching these kids that for example, some of her content's really good on Instagram. She's called Educate Our Youth 2025. And for example, she'll be like, put a poll on. Is it illegal to carry a knuckle duster? And then you've got to put yes or no. People don't realise it's against the law. Is it illegal to have a machete in your house? Yes, it's illegal. Since 2021, it's now against the law. People don't realise. So she's trying to push the teaching of these offences.
From an early age.
From an early age, because the parents probably aren't educated in it, because no fault of our own, a lot of people don't know about the law. So how are the kids supposed to know?
Because you try and put what's name into your kids, try and learn them stuff about the do's and the don'ts and what's right and wrong and stuff. But I think that's like just getting to the kids early and all that.
Yeah. You know what? There's a few different campaigns. Some people are doing some really fantastic work, but it feels like just fighting against the system all the time.
Everyone seems to be banging their heads.
Yeah.
They don't seem to be getting anywhere. But we still seem to be losing a lot of kids to knife crime and you know, gun crime and stuff, and like people say, you know, I've said it myself, you know, anyone caught with a knife or what's name, they need to be slammed, because they're not going out to have fish and chips with a knife, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or they're not, you know what I mean? It's crazy, and they're only going to use it for one thing, and it's sad, you know, and so, any child losing their life to, you know, knife crime and or gun crime and stuff, and there's a lot of, anyone who loses their life, I think, in those situations, and like people say they were innocent and stuff like that, and I think it's sad that we're losing kids. Do you know what I mean? It upsets me, because you think, wow, I worry about my grandkids, or you know, I even worry about my own kids. You know what I mean? Even though they're an older age and that, but like you said there, you've been to Parliament and you've, you know, networking with people and people who've got a bit of pull on that, and it just doesn't seem to be getting anywhere. Because,
like, say that petition, for example, that Aisha's trying to push, that's the Defence Solicitor, you've got to have 100,000 signatures before it'll even get heard. You're pissing in the wind.
Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it?
People want to help. For some reason, it just does, I don't know, like...
But you know, when you're saying about getting 100,000 signatures, it's crazy because, and this is a quote I always, you know, people will go and like a celebrity's post and whatever.
I know.
Go and fucking sign a petition.
Yeah.
A celebrity that doesn't even know who you are.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
This is what and it's just come to me, and I thought, people will go on social media, you sign a petition, and basically, you know, it's ticking boxes and a signature.
It's probably 1 minute out your life.
It's 1 minute where people are going, oh, hiya, Beyonce. Oh, I'll see you in the, what's the name? Fuck off. Just go and sign a petition and get it right, and let's try and do something about it. You know what I mean? It takes a minute out, not even a minute.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? There's a lot of good people out there. You know, what's the name for knife crime and all that. You know, the streets don't live. Daryl Aycock and stuff like that. He was involved and stuff like that as well. You know, he does a lot of good work, and you know, when pushes and there's loads of people out there who do fantastic work. But like you said, they're just pissing in the wind. And it frustrates me, that. It really does frustrate me. But like you say, hopefully the government will come to some kind of fucking...
Well, I've got to a point where it's almost like you can control the controllables. So I now do my bit. You know, if there's something I can do to help, do a podcast, share it, sign a petition, network with people, get involved in stuff, I'll do it. But I've got to switch off from it, because it will take over your life, and you can't do it on your own. Yeah, no, you can't. You need a team, and it's like you definitely need a team to push it and stuff like that. But like you say, you know, if you can help in some way or another, you can play your little part. Yeah. You know, everyone playing a little part will help, because like you say, you know, you've got family stuff. You know what I mean? You're looking at trying to balance that, balance this, but like you say, there's a lot of people out there who are doing good stuff out there, but they're just not being heard. And you know, probably 99% of the community and the population are decent people. It's just that always that 1% that lets the side down. Do you know what I mean? I think when I took part in that Knife Crime Awareness Week, it was 99% of people don't carry a knife. That was the stats, and it was through the Benkinseller Trust. Oh yeah. They put the event on, but there was lots of other organisations and foundations and campaigns that went, but the stats that came out was 99% of people don't carry a knife. That's unbelievable. It's mad, isn't it? That's absolutely unbelievable. Is there one investigative technique or detail that the public be surprised to learn about? Ooh. I was going to say then, you'd be surprised at how thick people are with leaving prints around. Do you know what I mean? Like, prints and DNA. Especially now, the technology we've got now. Technology's unbelievable. It's crazy, isn't it? Yeah. You can't get away with much, you know, if you were to leave DNA at a scene or prints at a scene. But some people... just blasé. Yeah, just don't think it through. They just don't think it's... yeah. And it's that really, that the majority, that's the, you know... Yeah, I'd say, like, that's, you know, it's good evidence when you can get something like that, because you nail them then, you've got them. There's a print, or there's, I don't know, the DNA slide, whatever it is, you know, or a bit of hair and whatever, you think, oh, these are nailed here, we've got them. Yeah, those are always good ones. And because obviously blood, you know, you might not be able to see, say, a speck of blood.
Because something's happened and you've got dusted and got off or whatever. And
Yeah. So let's just say it's on your trainers, yeah? And you've jumped in a car and then you've drove off. But there's a little bit on the sole of your shoe and now it's on the accelerator. Do you know what I mean?
People
a bit of a transfer and you just think, oh...
We've got you there.
I've got goosebumps talking about it.
No, but it's good that, you know, that's why we wanted you to come on, because it's very, it's deep in that, what we've spoke about, like a couple of the cases and stuff, but then it's that side of it, of the DNA and all that, and people love all that, what they want to know the ins and outs of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and also you've got to use dark humour. The only way you're going to get through it, like I've got the sickest sense of humour going, because you know the saying, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. I've just had to be like this. Honestly, me and my brothers all like bounce off each other, but sometimes they're like, fucking hell. Like, you've got to know your audience, don't get me wrong.
Of course you do, yeah. But like I say, you're in your group, and like, don't get me wrong, it's your banter and all that, where now you can't say anything now.
You've got to know your audience, but there's going to be a time when you've got to deal with it, and if it's through humour to stop you going mad, then so be it.
Listen, and that's how some people deal with that.
Yeah.
And you've got to, like you say, you've got to know your audience, or your group of, or whatever, because sometimes people can get offended by fucking, anything, do you know what I mean? And that's probably another thing that we'd get into, and people that be like that, people would just be having a go. But how do you separate fact from speculation when emotions and media pressure are high? Did you ever have to deal with that, Hayley?
So, the public are always going to speculate, aren't they?
Yeah.
Always. There's going to be some sort of speculation.
There's going to be a Karen who thinks they know.
Oh, yeah. I love just looking through the comments on stuff, do you? You see a news report and then just go straight to the comments and you just read through it. And everyone's an armchair detective, aren't they? And you just think, oh, it's brilliant. I just love it.
Everyone gets the 10 pence worth, and by the end of it, it's £1 million, innit? You know what I mean? And you think, wow, this has gone from like whatever's happened. Oh, we're seeing him in the pub, and this one had a fight with the.
Do you remember that? Is it Jay Slater that went missing?
Yeah.
Oh, the comments on that. I was invested in them.
Well, I was in Tenerife with my missus when it happened, and do you know what this has gone on a sooth this? I remember it come about, and my missus said to me, I swear to God, she went, should we go and help look? Right, I swear to God. And we were sat at the pool and that, and I went, are you, and I swear to God, Hayley, I went, are you fucking mad? I said, where they're saying he's gone missing and all that, it's like in the mountains and all that, so, okay, we'll get a bag with loads of water in and all that, we'll go looking hours and hours that way. I said, and then we'll get fucking lost and they'll have to come looking for us, because,
the hindrance, not a help.
And I was like, she was like, oh, it's so, and I went, you're watching too many fucking, what's the names, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
People on Google Maps.
Yeah.
That's the best, that.
Yeah.
It was live, going, I can't find them.
I've seen a shadow here and all that, and it's like, but it was, wow, we were over there, and it was like, wow, and we were just sewing, and then my missus said to me, like, while we were chilling, it was like, she was like that, the comments going,
so many comments.
And people are just, like you say, armchair detectives, and, it was sad that obviously, he people speculate how he died and stuff like that, and.
But don't you think that's a classic, like you just said, the speculation and the fact? He probably was just pissed walking home and fell. And there's probably nothing more to it than that. Yet there's all the Rolex and the fucking drug dealers and his mates and the phone call. And no one knows. And that's another one. Are we ever going to find out? Probably not.
Yeah, we had, what's his name, didn't we? We had Mark Williams-Thomas on.
Who's that?
He's like an investigator.
Oh, okay. I'll have to watch.
And he said like, these were his views and stuff. And he said he was, what's the name? 100% Jay fell and whatever and this, that and the other, but then people were questioning whatever he's saying, and we just give people a platform to come and speak and give their story, and whether people believe it or not, that's entirely up to them. But you'll have to watch that one, because he does speak about like that, but like then again there you say people become armchair detectives and stuff, and you think, wow, fucking hell, the minds just race away with themselves and stuff, do you know what I mean?
And actually, like, just all putting your 2 pennies worth in, is it doing it? All it's doing really is pushing the algorithm for the platform that you're on. So, because the media do this, they're fuckers for this.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they'll put something out, and it's almost like throwing the bait and just
it's lighting the fire, innit?
Yeah.
It's lighting the fire.
And they're all biting, and it's like, oh man, come on, you not see what they're doing.
It's like when the media do it, right? It's like, I've noticed it where like, they'll do it, and it's like, you just see it. It's like, it's the flames engulfing and people are just like bang, bang. And it's just getting pure bites on it. And I'm thinking, wow, they've created a shitstorm there.
Yeah.
But the public's perception and then the media and stuff like that, it's mad, you know what I mean? Hiya everyone, sorry to interrupt this episode, but here's a quick one from me. If you're enjoying the podcast and you enjoy what we're doing, you can now buy us a coffee. It's a simple way to keep those stories coming. No subscription, just that one-off bit of support. The link's in the description. Now back to the episode. Have you ever had to dealt with anything where it's like it just blew up like that, where like the media and the public are involved?
At the minute, there's something going on at the minute. It's nothing to do with homicide, but the flags, is it happening here?
Yeah, it's happening in Liverpool and that they've been taking them down. I've seen what's taking them off the lamppost, you know, like little cherry pickers going up
and they're actually taking them down,
taking like flags down. And
how's that going down with the
community? A lot of people are like, not well, because like you say, I seen a clip this morning. It was a guy, I think he was in London and whatever, and he said, look, at the end of the day, we can have any flags up and all that, but this is our country and this, that and the other. And if people want to fly flags, why are they being removed and all this? And it's then again, I'm not too clued up on it all, do you know what I mean? But I've seen it. But then again, it's like the media portray this. It's like, what they portray, it's like they live in this country, you know what I mean? They're going against this country when it's just creating a shitstorm.
Yeah, and that's exactly what's happening at the minute. So what we're on now, like over the last week, I've been on GB News, 5 Live,
yeah,
radio.
I was going to speak to you about that.
Yeah,
actually.
radio. They asked me, I'll come on to it. They asked me to go on again last night, but it was 11:45 and I wanted to go to bed.
Talking about the flags.
No, they wanted to talk to me about. Do you know the Menendez brothers? They killed their parents in America.
Yeah.
They wanted me to go on and talk about that because they're on about getting parole. Did you watch the documentary on Netflix about it?
Yeah, I've seen it.
So they allegedly were abused by their dad, and as a result they killed their parents, and they've been in prison for like 35 years or something like that. And there's a story about them getting parole. So like GB News messaged me last night saying, will you come on at 11:45 p.m. to talk about this? And I was like, I'm an early night kind of girl, do you know what I mean? I'm in bed for 9. So I was like, no, it's too late for me. But I must be on a list or something now of people that throw the 2 pennies worth.
But no, because I've seen you on a couple of the what's names, and you speak, you do speak well and stuff, and you know your stuff. And it's nice to be recognised that you can go on them type of platforms and speak about it. I mean, like I said, I don't watch the news. I'll watch that, there's only like GB or whatever, because the news, the other ones that just fill you full of shite. Do you know what I mean? Where they'll speak openly and they're not afraid to, because I think their viewings were bigger than Sky News apparently. I think a couple of weeks ago or whatever. Or it's still to this day, but like you say, it's like you're getting invited to go on them platforms. So you must be doing something right, Hayley, and your opinions,
The thing is, I think, just coming back to the flags, that started round by me.
Yeah.
So it started in the next village, if you like, down, and it was just a group of lads that just put a load of flags up round the square just as a show of patriotism. And it really brought some smiles to the faces, and all the old days and that were loving it. So they just started branching out, and then it became a story. Then it starts going on the news. Well, these lads started a GoFundMe, and they've bought enough flags to put up from something like Birmingham to Cheltenham. That's how many there are. They're on every lamppost round by me.
Yeah, are they still up though?
They're still up. I would dread to think what would happen if someone took them down.
Well, that's what I'm saying, because I seen today someone, and it was in Liverpool, and there was like a cherry picker up, and you could see the fella cutting it down or cutting it all, you know what I mean? And I thought, and someone who filmed it must have, I think he went over and was like, what are you doing and whatever. The fella's just like, I think he's saying, I'm just doing my job, mate, or something like that, you know what I mean? But I've seen the ones where they'd painted
the mini islands.
But there's someone painting all the potholes now, because you can't, the roads don't get.
Yeah.
So he went, that's how they'll get fixed.
And they're saying, put a St George's cross on your bin bags and they'll get collected, because they don't collect the rubbish box.
No, but that's a good one, no, because I know Birmingham had a bad...
bad with the rubbish,
with the and I think it's the same in a lot of places around the UK where, but like, we can have that humour about it, where you paint it, and it'll get removed.
Yeah.
But it's mad that you've got to think like that.
Yeah,
Where
the thing is, and this is the media doing it, because I would say 99% of people ain't bothered about the flags. There's the occasional person saying that they're causing offence or whatever, but that's fine. No one ever died from being offended. You're living in this country.
yeah,
Okay, so to have a Union Jack or a St George cross up, that's fine. If you're offended, don't worry about it. Do you ever watch Ricky Gervais?
yeah, I like Ricky Gervais.
Yeah, and he always says, like, it's fine to be offended. Do you know what I mean? It's no one's ever going to die from being offended.
Exactly. It's just you know.
You're living in this country by choice, and there's a flag up. So be it.
But you know what? There's that thing as well, Hayley, where there's a lot of people who are very patriotic, and there's a lot of people who aren't really bothered. Do you know what I mean? And you will find that. But there's not a problem if someone's got it doesn't. It's going to push me towards, like, which I probably don't want to.
I know,
a can
it's
of worms.
hard,
And I was speaking to a taxi driver, I think it was, and we got onto it, and it was just like, look, it's very hard at the moment where you want to speak out and but you don't want it. People get offended. Look, at the end of the day, it's my opinion and whatever.
And you're entitled to it.
And I just think there's a lot of people that, are scared of upsetting the government and upsetting certain, religions, where you go, hang on, if you come and add certain things to the country, where you're going to add stuff to the economy, where you're going to work and you're going to do this and you're going to do that. Because I certainly wouldn't go, if I was going to emigrate to another country, I wouldn't go over there and start trying to push something on, because this is our country. You go to certain countries.
Could you imagine going to America and telling them to take down the tune?
You'd probably end up in what's the name, Bay or somewhere like that, or
I can't even believe, like,
it's crazy, isn't it?
But do you know, personally for me, I couldn't give a toss whether there's 20 different flags of all different nationalities on all the lampposts. I don't care, as long as ours is kept up.
But this is the thing, and that's why people are starting to. I'm exactly like you. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of flags that you see up, could be in that local high street where that's their country, and you might have a certain restaurants or whatever. But when it's like, when you see the England flag up or the St George's flag and whatever, they've got to be taken down because they offend, and you're thinking to yourself, wow, what the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't, but it's just, like you say again, it's the media just kicking up a frenzy.
Yeah, and I think they tried to get me into a bit of a debate on 5 Live the other day.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, whatever. Because I was like bored of it by then. I was like, fucking hell, like, there's no story here. They're up, they're staying up. If they get took down, they're going to get put back up.
That's it, innit?
Simple as that.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
But if you were still in a homicide, what would you change?
Oh, definitely. Mandatory, sort of like therapy. Mandatory counselling.
Yeah.
Yeah, for officers. And anyone dealing with, anything sensitive, it's not just homicide, to be honest, it's the whole force.
Across the board.
Yeah, because a lot of response officers are going out to suicides, are going out, they're first on the scenes of murders. There's, I've got a few friends that work on the, basically the online child sex exploitation.
Yeah.
I've got a mate that's on there, and she's just coming up to retirement. She's got a couple of years left, and I'm like, mate, how
does she deal with that?
Yeah, well, exactly, because you're gonna retire,
what she's seeing.
And we're talking fucking
graphic.
Category 1 images, awful images of children being abused. I'm like, mate, you're gonna retire, and you're gonna go fucking wibble, because how are you gonna deal with this?
It's horrible because that's the dark, and like even in homicide and stuff, but even like that's dark. You know what I mean? That's like, because they're trying to find out who these pieces of, you know what I mean, are, and they don't deserve to breathe, and you think to yourself, and they've got to view that footage or view the images and stuff like that. I can't believe how then people switch off, when they go after what they've been viewing all day, like you said, she's going to go batty or whatever when she retires. That's just like, and there's no aftercare for them.
That's what I mean. So that's what I would definitely change, because I think that should be mandatory. I don't even know how you could diffuse yourself from seeing stuff like that, because you can't unsee that now. All that stuff that's in here, in my head, that I've seen over the last 20 years, I can't unsee it. I don't know when it's going to come back. I don't know.
Something could trigger you, couldn't it?
I could be doing absolutely fantastic flying, and something could get me at some point. Something got me a few weeks ago. It was an anniversary of a death of a young lad who was killed by his dad and stepmom. And it was the anniversary, and it was on the news because of the anniversary. I must have felt myself welling up. And I honest to God, I can't remember the last time I cried because I'm so like
You've been looking after, dealing with it yourself and, going to therapy and stuff like that, you're saying and stuff. But stuff like that, it can just trigger you, you know what I mean? It could be like you say something on the telly and that anniversary. And
and you can't unsee it now. You can't not know what you know. So it's like all the stuff that's in my head, I can't, what do I do with it? It's locked away. But is it going to come out?
Yeah, yeah. And I think, look, you're human, Hayley, you have feelings, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. It's so hard for you not to like just put it away, put it in that box and forget about it. Like you say, it could be a song or it could be something, you know what I mean? Like, I try and there's certain things that have gone on in my life or friends' lives or, and they could hear something and then the next thing they're like, they're in fucking tears, or you could be welling up at anything like that. But when did it get to a point where you thought, right, this is it for me, I'm out?
It's the politics of it all. It got to the point where I thought, am I even making a difference here? Like, and I'm sure I did make a difference, and I know that I made a difference to some people, particularly families that I dealt with. But you just think like, personally to me, the criminal justice system is just shot. Like, it's
on its arse.
Yeah. And it got to a point, and I just thought, this is just bollocks. Like, yeah, we did. I mean, on the team I was on, we got some real lengthy sentences for offenders. We're talking probably like a good amount of lifers, a decent amount. But then sometimes you just be like, just the way the court system is set up, it needs change, it needs to be updated. It's like, I always find that quite often it comes down to like one person's opinion or...
The judge, you mean?
Or like, have you ever watched The Jury?
Yeah.
Did you watch it? There's a new series coming out. So like, that was an experiment where they had a murder trial and had jury A and jury B, and they both come up with different verdicts. And I'm like, this is what it's like. It's coming down really to opinions. It's a lottery.
But when you say it like that, and because it always baffles me, what you just said about like when people are in court and stuff like that, and it's always, for me, it's something that I've always spoke about as like sex offenders who, how they get like the sentence. I just don't understand the sentencing, Hayley, because like you've just said there, one jury could both sit in on it, okay, A and B, they're both listening to the evidence, and one jury can pick guilty and one can pick not guilty. But then when the sentencing, why is the sentencing so lenient for sex offenders and stuff?
It doesn't make sense, does it?
Do you know, obviously, being like within the police and stuff, did the police ever think, fucking hell?
Oh, yeah.
Because a lot of people have this perception, because it's not down to the police to give the sentence. But then sometimes it's like, well, he got like 5 years for count one and 4 years to run concurrent for count two. And I think to myself, and when concurrent, people don't understand what concurrent, it's a run alongside it, where you think that he's getting 9 years or whatever it is not. But then out of the fact, they're only going to do 2.5 anyway. And these judges, because you'd always see a lot of people online saying, the fucking judges as well, and or the establishment and all this, and you think to yourself, why did he get it? And then you get someone for posting a post on social media.
Oh yeah, I was just about to say that.
Getting there. Funny enough, I've just seen a lad, I've just said to Ben when I was coming, a lad fishing, and his brother's just got out of, what's the name, and he wanted to come on the podcast, and I said to him, listen, let him get out, let him go to probation, let him do his stuff, because if he comes on the pot and he says something, he'll end up back in there, and that's the last thing I want to. And then and we just had a good chat for about 15 minutes before I come here, and he was just on the canal there fishing, and he messaged me and he went, oh, I messaged you, and I was like, is he out and all? And he went, yeah. GB News wants him to go on, and I just said to him, just tell him to be careful, because if he fucking says anything or whatever, they'll have him right back in.
But isn't that a shame, because what's he actually saying? Is he saying anything that's that wrong?
Well, me and his brother Josh said, and I just said, Josh, he probably could have. I said, look, if he's thinking that and whatever, that's his opinion, that's great. And he said so. He was angry about what was going on, and he did say something which was a bit what's the name, but they were his words, and I said he's probably going to regret for saying them words. I said, but like many people aren't happy, and he posts something because their social media is their platform and whatever. to a degree, you know, you got to sort of word things right and whatever. But in the heat of the moment, he's wrote something and he's been sent to jail. But when he was getting, I think he got 27 months.
Fucking hell.
And you've got these people who were arranging to go and meet kids. Right. And you've got suspended sentences on a prevention order. You know what I mean? And then we had previous guests on who are a team, child elusive, and their stories were horrific. And they were saying some of them, you know, are just disgusting. Like your friend who reads them messages and watches, you know, the footage and the images, and he said they're getting smacked hands. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just sad, but I just don't understand why there's not a thing for specifically sex offenders.
Did you watch that programme recently, that Unforgivable?
Yeah.
The Jimmy McGovern one?
No, I've not watched it.
Really good.
No, do you know what? It's something that I've not watched. I'd normally watch them, but it was a little bit heavy for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I found that really good. But again, well, I'll watch it and tell me what you think, because there's a bit of an injustice in that. You know, you just think like.
And the actors are
really good.
But what's his name? Schofield, I think his name is. Bobby Schofield is, I think, anyway. But he's
Frank Gallagher from Shameless.
Yeah, he's in there as well.
Anna Friel.
There's a lot of Bobby
Schofield,
yeah. He's on it, and I believe he plays a fantastic part. It's something that I've not got round to watching. It's a bit too close to home for me. So I'm a bit like, normally I'm pretty what's name, but a few people I spoke to, and they said Tony, it's a bit heavy, you know, and on this, that, and the other. So I'm all over like stuff like that, but it's just mad where like sentencing for me is just like, it's scary, and you're seeing people popping up and they're getting suspended sentences.
Yeah. Honest to God.
They're sorry and this, that, and the other, and say, of course they're going to be sorry because they got caught.
We've also
Do you know what I mean?
What's in the public interest, you know? Like, this is my opinion, but like a tweet or something like that. All right, let's look at the public interest versus indecent images of children or stuff like that. How can someone go to prison for words, and expressing an opinion, versus someone that's sharing indecent images of children not going to prison
or trying to meet children?
Yeah, I just can't understand it. I follow like the grooming gang, not the grooming gangs, like the they're called paedophile hunters.
Yeah.
I follow them, and like there's a few.
When you do a sting and all that.
Yeah, one's just stopped. It was called Stop Stings. They've like stopped doing it. There's a new one that I'm following called The Underworld, and you know they have the body cams on. They're all above board and that. Like they've set up a sting pretty much, and they've ended up being led to an individual, and then they capture it all on camera and phone the police.
Well, we had the child elusive protection on one of our earlier episodes. Sean and Andy Woodward, and the work they do, because it's all self-funded. They're not.
Yeah, I know.
There's no funding for it, and they travel because they want to protect the children. So they could travel from, I think they're based Stockport ways or Manchester ways and stuff. And the lady as well who set it up, I forgot her name. She, like your friend, she asked her the explicit messages, videos that are sent, and when they capture them. And they all go to shit and that because they've been caught.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, you want to go and lock them up and throw away the fucking key.
Yeah.
Never to step out again, you know what I mean?
I worked with a bloke, a sergeant in the police, right, for fucking 10 years. Let's fast forward another 5, 6, 7 years, whatever. He got locked up for fucking grooming a kid. And I was reading it in the paper thinking, fucking what? Yeah. And they'd stung him. So basically, they'd... what's the word I'm looking for? You know, purported to be a child.
Yeah.
And been messaging him, and then like basically, he'd gone so far to the point where he's committed offences.
Yeah. Started speaking explicitly, you know, whatever. Yeah. But
he's a police sergeant.
And you know what? This is what I don't get, Hayley. You know, why? I don't know. If I knew the answer, I'd try and solve it. And you know, if I had my way. Anyone who does that to kids, I'd castrate them. Like
me and my brother always say, if you had 6 months to live, what would you do? And they went,
and that's in there. Do you know? But I think a lot of people, you know, it's a good you know, because at the end of the day, anyone who does anything to kids, hurts them, abuses them, whatever, physically, sexually, or whatever, they need.
And the thing is, anyone that, so we're saying this now, surely everyone has that same opinion, surely.
Yeah.
And if you don't, what?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Course.
So it's like, if someone's to call you out on it, you're like, why the fuck don't you think the same as me? Like, there's something wrong here.
Exactly. There's something, if you don't have the same
Yeah.
thought, you know, because it's wrong on all levels, isn't it? You know what I mean? But what inspired you to start Spin Justice podcast? I got it totally wrong.
You got it wrong.
I got it wrong.
So I teach spin. I teach indoor cycling.
Seen a spin bike out there as well.
First thing I clocked when I walked in, thought there's a spin bike.
It's never been used,
I
by the way.
actually thought, is he gonna get me on the bike?
Maybe. Do you know what? It's been there. It's never been used.
So as part of me, you know, trying to level myself out, I got into the exercise, didn't I?
Yeah.
And then I got a back injury, and the consultant said, right, you can't be doing none of this running and HIIT classes and that. You've got to swim or cycle. Started swimming for a bit and I was just bored of it. So I started going to spin classes, and some of the instructors were wicked and I was like proper buzzing with it. And then some of the instructors were really shit. So I thought, I could do better than this myself. So I thought, fuck it, this is me all over. Don't talk about it, just do it. So just booked myself, done an online exam, didn't tell anyone. Went up to Bristol, done like an 8-hour intensive course, got this qualification. I'm like, right, what do I do with this now?
Come back with a certificate.
Come back with a certificate. I'm like, right, let's just start teaching spin now. This is a few years ago now, and found a little gym by me that had about 6 bikes in there. And I was like to the manager, you know, can I just do a little local spin class once a week? Yeah, of course. And it's just gone wild.
Is it grew?
So I'm now teaching it. I teach every day. I do have a Sunday off, but sometimes I do 2 classes a day. Like last week, I taught 8 classes in the week because I do it with them. I get on the bike and do it with them.
So you're doing 2 classes, one after the other, or
yeah. And then it's just grown to the point where I've got waiting lists. I've like bought more bikes, so I'm teaching 15 people in this gym, 20 people in this gym, and it's just grown massive. And
you have the music on black, bumping.
Yeah, and there's like different playlist every week, different choreography every week. I couldn't give a toss whether you can keep up because not everyone's there for fitness. Yeah. Some people want to get away from the kids,
socialising and getting out.
Yeah. Some people just want to listen to some music and move their legs for a bit. So there's never any pressure. But it can be really intense if you want it to be.
Yeah.
But I'm not going around screaming at people because I can't breathe myself. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm not struggling like them. Because the thing is as well, I'm doing this every day, but I like a drink and I like to eat. Mm-hmm. So this is mainly to keep me level because if I stop doing it, I dread to think what's going to come out.
Yeah.
So that's my endorphins released for that day.
You're replacing it with something else. It's a positive, isn't it?
Yeah. So I do that, and I'm helping people by doing it. The spin business has just been made a CIC, so you know there's real benefits to the community there. So it's just with the spin and then the injustice, because I was so racked off when I left the police.
That's why you're obviously...
with the injustice. I was like, I want to talk about this. I want to talk about it, and then I thought, well, what do I do?
How can I do with that?
Kept putting it on the back burner, thinking, not yet. It's not the right time. It's not the right time. And then it just come to me, Spin Justice. And I just thought, right, that's it then. We're going to go with that. And then just got a logo made, which is a spin bike with the scales.
Yeah. That's how I got the thing wrong, because when I looked at your podcast with your logo, I was thinking, being on that side and then being like a normal, what's the name, spin and the Justice.
Yeah.
And then I didn't know about the spin bike. And then when you said before, when you come in, I thought, fucking hell, why am I not getting onto it? Because I didn't even get onto it on you know what I mean? I was just like...
If you go down on my Instagram page, there's videos on there of me teaching spin.
Yeah.
We've got some promo stuff on there, so there might be, snippets of me teaching and that. But honestly, it just sorts me out. It sorts my head out.
And you're bringing people together as well.
Yeah.
Hayley, you know what I mean? It's like, it's one of those where you think, like you say, people are getting away from the kids for an hour or so or whatever, but also to socialise, and then you're bringing people together, and people might be struggling, and they just think that 1 hour, whatever it is, they get out for, they're releasing everything, and they think, I feel so much better for doing it. And they listen to music as well.
And the music's wicked. Like, honestly, that no week is the same. It's just... I'll have 80s in there, 90s, I'll have indie, I'll have dance, I'll have house.
Like reggae as well, don't you?
I love a bit of reggae now. Still got my reggae nails on. But yeah, it's just whatever it is for you. It doesn't matter whether you want to get fit or improve your mental health. I guarantee when you walk out the door, you'll feel better than when you walked in. 100%. There is no 2 ways about it.
But that's brilliant that you've created that, you know what I mean? Because like you say, yourself at times was like, where do I go from here and all that, and then you've got out to the police and stuff like that. But then you're wanting to talk about experiences and stuff like that. And the podcast, that was like the same for me. Why I started the podcast, because I wanted to, you know, when you come up with a title, and for me, everyone goes through the good, the bad, and the ugly in life. And like for you, Spin Justice is like, and there's always something that relates to it. You know what I mean? And why I wanted to do the podcast, because you want to give people. Everyone has a story, good, bad, ugly, whatever. But also, what I love getting out of it as well is people connecting, networking.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And when someone messages me and goes, oh, Tony, I spoke to Hayley, or Tony, I spoke to Jay, or I spoke to this one, or I spoke to that one. I know me and Ben have done our job, do you know what I mean? And
yeah.
but also, it's when people reach out and say, oh, I watched that podcast and that was me. I was been in a bad place or whatever. This is why I get, people probably think, well, you know, oh, you're doing it. No, I enjoy it. That's what I love doing, is seeing people getting something from it, you know what I mean?
Exactly. And I think I didn't want to just focus on the doom and gloom side of the injustice, because I thought, I'm so pissed off with the injustice, but if you just talk about that all day long, it's going to just depress you. So let's
mix it up.
When I came up with the Spin Justice, I thought, oh, we can talk about anything. We can talk about health and fitness to the injustices of the world and everything in between. So I'll literally have people on and we'll do the knife crime episode, but then we'll do an episode on addiction, or we'll do an episode on growing up in the care system, or we'll do an episode on love. Like,
fitness and yeah, different.
So I've had a love guru on and talked about like, that side of things, or parenting. You know, we just talk about anything, and the listeners will relate to something.
Yeah.
But on every episode, we have a Spin Justice of the week. So it might be the Spin Justice of like last week's one that I recorded was people saying they're offended by the fucking flags. Like, that was my Spin Justice. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
But every week's different. That's
the same as us. We always, we don't always just have one, you know, specific topic on. You know, it's a variety of people. We, you know, where you could have, you know, like you just said there, it's doom and gloom, or it could be crime or whatever. It's just all gang and stuff like that. We have a variety of guests on from every single walk of life, because, you know, everyone's been through good, bad, and ugly, and like you say, that's why we, you know. That's why we wanted you to come on, because your story's different, you know, the inside of what you were doing, you know, being like, you know, within the police, but that side of it where people don't get to see that and understand what you've got to go through as well, you know what I mean?
Yeah, this is it. And I think as well, like you just said there, when you talk to a variety of different people, it's better for you, because if I just dealt with injustice, so when I do a knife crime episode, or someone who's been abused, or, you know, the real heavy ones.
Yeah.
You I don't know how you feel, but I feel really drained after them ones.
Ben said this to me last, we'd done 2 episodes back to back.
Yeah.
And when we'd finished the second one, he said to me, are you all right?
Yeah.
He said that to me, and I was like, yeah, I'm sound, mate. And then when I went home and that, and like, I got in bed and I'd had a shower and then got in bed and I was like, fucking hell, what have I just listened to there? Do you know what I mean? But then like, him saying that to me, you know, because it is, you know, we do have a lot of guests on who've been through some horrific stuff, and by them opening up, and it, you know, it helps them, you know, because they want to help other people who might be sitting in silence. And I didn't really look at it like, I just think, yeah, I'm sound, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but then I got home and I just lay on the pillow. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
You know, you do take it home a little bit, and you think, or you think about it might bring something up, or it might, you know what I mean? And you think...
And it burdens you a little bit then, because you're burdened with their grief or whatever it is. So if ever we've done, sometimes we record more than one in a day.
Yeah.
So you've got Ben, I've got Carl, and we decided, depending on the topic, we'd sometimes only be able to do one a day. Because if it's a heavy topic, I can't do another one. I'm too tired after it. Like when I went to the knife crime event in Parliament, all day that is, dealing with bereaved families.
Stories,
people campaigning,
yeah.
survivors of knife crime or whatever it might be. That had a knock-on effect for the rest of my week, because you've got the travelling to and from London, you're dealing with all the shit, you're in the moment, you're networking, and then for days you're out the game after.
Yeah.
So what we've had to do is see what the topic is. Like last week I had a couple of comedians on.
Yes,
that's just a laugh a minute, do you know what I mean? We're just like, yeah, we could easily do another one after this. But then you've got to really look at...
You've got to get the balance right, haven't you?
So I've got people booked in. Did you have Richie on?
Richie Flower. No,
yeah.
he come on. He come and had the chat with me. Richie, he hasn't been on yet.
Because I've booked him in to come on tomorrow.
Yeah.
So like, I've had to now look at my diary because I book the guests in, and I do the talking, but Carl does everything else.
Yeah.
So I have to then look at my diary and see who I've got in and what we're talking about. Because if it's a heavy topic, they're the only ones getting booked in for that day. Because it takes too much out of me.
Yeah, of course it does, innit? Listen, you're only human.
Yeah.
We're only human, Hayley, and we love doing what we're doing and stuff like that. But you know, you called your podcast Spin Justice. What's the biggest spin you've seen the media put on a case?
Do you know what? A lot of them are pretty straightforward. Do you know what I mean? Like, I dealt with a particularly bad one. And if it's a spin, but this bloke should never have been in the community.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have been out of prison, but he was, and he committed another murder and another real bad offence while he was out. And there was like a big review into this after, but basically he was a sex offender, and he broke into a house, and he raped this woman and murdered her in a house and set fire to her. And he left the scene, and he was on the run for about 2 weeks. Yeah. But basically he never should have been out. I don't know if that's a spin, like you've just said in your question, but you know, you just like, something gets you and you think,
how has this happened?
Yeah, like so basically his thing was open windows. So that was his thing. Like, you know, people have certain things, thrills.
Yeah.
His thing was windows. So he had been like having thoughts, and I believe he'd even disclosed it and said, I've been having these thoughts and feelings. Nothing was done, and then he's fucking broke into this house. And
it could have been what's her name before it got to that, like you say.
Yeah, and he raped and killed this woman really badly, and set fire to her. And my mate, she lost it and she left after this. But she says to me, I can't stop thinking about this. Like, I can't have my windows open. I wonder now, because I ain't in touch with her anymore.
Yeah.
She left, and I thought about it the other week. Because, you know, it's been fucking really hot.
Yeah.
And I'm at a point where I'm going through the menopause, so my window's fucking open all the time. From
my wife at the moment.
Yeah.
It's a bit... Oh.
So my window's like constantly open, like, and she was like, I can't have my window open, I can't have my window open. And
it's scary, that, though, do you know what I mean? When it's like, do you know what? It's like, you think to yourself, the job, and then it's like, you're thinking, wow, this... And it just doesn't leave it, and then she's like,
yeah,
you can't even have a window.
It's funny. Well, it's not funny, but like a few weeks ago, my brother said something about being too hot at night, and I was like, open your window, and he was like, I can't because of you. Because I told him about that story.
Oh, it set him off as well. Oh, it's crazy, isn't it? Has your background as an investigator shaped the way you approach true crime on your podcast?
Probably.
Yeah, because you've got that what's the name about.
Yeah, probably. Because I've naturally got an investigative mindset.
Yeah.
So I'm a nosy bitch, and
I'm not going to, please don't take me, I think all women are, I think. Fucking hell.
I've just got a natural investigative mind, you know, like, you ever seen those memes when it's like, girls can find out anything like that?
Do you know what? It's crazy, because you know what, that just made me laugh, because I think I put a meme of sort. I think it's saying, it's mad how, what's the name, a woman will question you about whatever, but if you leave the fucking air straight, or if you can remember the air straighteners were left on at 4:34, just all, women have always got an answer for something, and I'm just like, wow.
Yeah, I think just naturally I'm that way inclined.
Yeah.
I'm always questioning, thinking, well, what about that? And what about that? And that one, well, what about that? You know, and so, yeah, I would say so. And when it comes to podcasting, because this is another thing, like, you've got to be careful the way you question people about it, haven't you? Because you might come across like you're being like accusatory.
Yeah.
Is that the right word? But this is a good one. If ever you feel like, so I've been doing a bit of research into this lately because I've got a potential guest coming on, and I've listened to a bit of a story, and I'm thinking, no, I ain't having this. There's more to this. But I'm thinking, how am I going to question this person on my podcast without coming across like I'm pointing the finger?
It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah. So basically, you know, Diary of a CEO. Stephen Bartlett.
Stephen Bartlett,
so
yeah.
he puts a good spin on it where he'll go, okay, so at this point the audience might be wondering. So like you're getting in there from an audience perspective, but really it's just your mind. Do you know what I mean? But if you can put a little spin on it like that.
But this is why we do it, and like people, you know, sometimes you don't want to be insensitive. You don't want to be upset any of your guests. I always say to our guests,
of course you don't.
You know what I mean? Look, this is what we're going to speak about. Anything you want to add, anything you want to speak about, whatever. If anything you don't, we'll take it out.
Yeah.
Plus we had the, you know what I mean? We send it to you, and that's how we work.
Yeah.
But we had a guest on not so long ago. I won't mention who it was, and there was something I was going to ask him, and I didn't want to ask him it because I knew it. Well, this was just me. I thought if I asked him that question, would it upset him?
Yeah.
And I didn't ask him it. And he's been on a couple of other podcasts and that, and he spoke about it. And and I watched it and I thought I couldn't have asked him it because it would have upset him. But he spoke on these other podcasts and I'm thinking to myself, should I have asked him? But that's just me.
Yeah,
I didn't have the what's name to ask him because I thought, nah, if that upsets him, I'll fucking never forgive myself. And we're not doing it for clicks or nothing like that.
Exactly.
I don't even think I mentioned it to Ben. I think I did actually. And I just said, I couldn't have asked him that question.
So this is it. Like this particular person, I haven't had him on yet. And I feel like I'm only going to have him on if I can ask this question. Because
it's just all lies on, yeah, because there's a lot more to it.
Yeah, because the story's been told loads of times on other platforms. So we know that. What we want to know is this. So at this point, the audience might be thinking, what about this? Do you know what I mean? And then I'm going to throw that in there. But I'm going to have to prep him.
Yeah, but that's what we do because
if he's not willing to do that, let's not do it then. Because you've told the story a million times.
You want your own spin on it.
Yeah.
This is what we do. We've had guests on who've been on other podcasts, and we always have our own spin. We want to, okay, they might say, but we always want to go a little bit. We've had guests on and they've gone, oh yeah, we've not really spoke about this and this, that, and the other, because you don't want people coming on your podcast and they've said the same story 20 times. You know what I mean? It's like, we want our own spin on it. We want to add our own little bits and bobs with.
It's funny because when I had Sean Atwood on mine, I asked him about the deportation process because he's like, no one's asked me this. Everyone asks me about what it was like in the prisons and
what he got nicked for. And all that,
the maximum security jails in America and all of that, and SWAT teams kicking your door in. No one's asked me about like being deported and how that was. And I was like, oh yeah, like when you got on the plane, what happened? And he talked us through the whole story, and it was fascinating. And he was like, no one's even asked me that before.
But that's what I'm saying. That's your spin on your podcast, and you've got your own way of everyone's different, and like I say, when we got into podcasting and stuff like that, it was like, what guests are we going to get on and whatever. I remember telling me missus, my missus had gone away to a log cabin. I said, I've got something to tell you, and she was like, you're not carrying on, are you? And I went, what? I went, what are you on about? And she went, I'm going to start a podcast. And she went, you're fucking kidding me. And I went, is that what you were going to tell me? She went, Tony, you're doing this, you're doing that. She went, what's it called? And I went, The Good, The Bad and the Ugly. She went, what's not bad, that,
Yeah.
So she was on board then with the and then I'll never forget it. And then I just thought to myself, what guests, and a couple of people had inspired me. That's why I wanted to do it, you know what I mean? And hearing different people from different walks of life, it doesn't matter, what you've been through, and it's about how you come back and certain adversities people go through in life, because, like I say, having different guests on.
And it's mad, isn't it, how you get connected with people.
And connect them with people, this is the thing,
I find that, like, this morning I've booked people in for like sort of my series 4, which has already started. I've started recording it, but like just carrying on booking people in. And it's like, how have I been connected with you? Like, how has this even happened? It's mental, like how it snowballs.
But what do you feel, though, Hayley, when you get a message or someone relates to that specific episode, or because I know I get that, I go, okay, wow, and I'll send it to him, or I'll go, have you seen this? And he's like, that's what we do it for.
Yeah, it lights me up because it's like the spin. Like you saw then, and you'll see when you watch this back. Like when I start talking about spin and exercising, I'll change. It lights me up. Do you know what I mean? So like that. Like someone messaged me the other day. He's going through a hard time, and I sent him a couple of podcasts, and there was one I'd recently done with an Xbox. I do a lot of Xboxers for some reason. And go on.
What's the name? Sen, is it?
Matt Sen.
He's coming on next week.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's coming on Tuesday, actually.
No way.
Yeah.
I sent it to a lad who I know who's going through a bit of a hard time. And literally a couple of hours later, he messaged me and he was like, how can a podcast flip your mindset? How is that possible? Like, how have you just managed to turn me around? And that was it, job done for me.
But that's, Hayley, this is what I'm saying. Do you know when people, like you saying that young lad's messaged you and whatever and said, I'm struggling, this, that and the other, and that episode of you, what's it? It's like when people, you know, we hear people dealing with certain things on the life, drink, drugs, been abused physically, sexually, mentally and stuff like that, and they watch one of our podcasts, or there's a quote, or there's like a sort, and it just picks them right up.
Yeah.
Right, I need to, you know, that makes me feel, you know, I feel good about myself. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to save the world. I'm not portraying to do that, you know, but if we can help one person, or, you know, and it makes
you've done your job.
We've done our job, do you know what I mean? And that's why I love, like people saying, that's why I love podcasting, do you know what I mean?
Because talking is therapy.
Of course it is, yeah.
Yeah, and like I know this lad to a degree. I know his interests. I know he's got a bit of interest in the boxing. I know he's going through a bit of a tough time. So I was like, mate, have a listen to this. This is going to sort you out. And the message that come back, I was like, yeah. I had another friend a few weeks ago. She's going through an horrendous time. When I say horrendous, it's like, when's your luck going to change? This is mental. And I sent her your episode with Cassie.
Yeah.
And I said, listen to this woman, listen to her 1%, listen to her saying, today, get up and have a wash.
Go in your shower.
And tomorrow, have a wash and brush your teeth. And the day after, have a wash, brush your teeth and have some breakfast. And it's all about that 1% every day.
Yeah, yeah.
And I sent her that episode and I was like, please listen to this, because this is where you are at the minute. You're rock bottom and you've just got to do 1%.
1% at a time, yeah.
Yeah. And I just think that it will help someone.
Exactly, and this is why we do it. And like, everyone's podcasts are different, and you know what? It's great that like it connects people, and we come together, and you know, I'm sure to God, like, you know, after we, you know, I'll be like, listen, I think this guest would be great for you, and whatever. And it's good to network, and it's good to help each other out. You know what I mean? And you want to see people, you know, connect and do well and stuff like that. But you know, what's been like, you know, so far in your podcast journey, you know, probably the good, the bad and the ugly out of it?
Ooh, loads of good. The connections are just next level. Like, I just feel that the snowball effect of like connecting with people. And you know what? I've not had, touch wood so far, I haven't had any hate or any like nasty comments or anything. I couldn't give a fuck anyway. I don't care. It's water off a duck's back. But I feel like there's been nothing but like positive. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The bad, I want to do it more. I want to do it. I've still got a full-time job. I'm a single mum to 2 kids. I do my spin classes 7 days a week. Do you know what I mean? When I'm not doing that, I'm listening. I've listened to 2.5 hours of music driving down here because I've got to do next week's playlist. Do you know what I mean? So like I'm doing press-ups on the steering wheel on the motorway. So like that's the bad, because I want to put more time into it, but at the minute it's hard, isn't it?
Of course.
You know, you've got to get your sponsorships, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. You know, I can't leave a good paid job.
Do you know what? You just hit it on the head there, because this is like, I'm glad because when we you know, we all want the podcast to be at a certain level. You want the content to be great. You know what I mean? I remember when we started, and I'm going to say it, when we started out, when you look back at our earlier episodes, it looked like Stevie Wonder was filming it, and it was like, and we were in a dungeon and all that. Ben come on board, just went, Tony, this needs to change, that needs to change. I don't make a bean, right? This is the God's honest truth. I don't make a bean, and whatever we do make, if we do, I pay the producer, I pay Ben, the editor. Yeah. It gets reinvested into Ben. All the content is down to him.
Yeah.
And it is time, and the way he edits everything's got to be perfect. And that's when we ask for sponsors. It's not to go in my back bin or whatever.
Yeah.
It's so we get, you know, we can create better content, maybe if we need new equipment or whatever, but also, you know, bring you the best content we can, and with that you need, because I couldn't do the editing, fucking hell, not a chance. I couldn't do that. I can just sell ice to the Eskimos and talk to people, do you know what I mean? But it's, we want to be better, and but also we love bringing people together, and people, who are on the journey with us, who follow us on all our platforms, and we want to take it to that next level, do you know what I mean? And I feel what's the name when we sometimes reach out to people to sponsor us, do you know what I mean?
It's hard, isn't it? But at
It
the
is
same
hard.
time, you've got to do it.
And do you know what? The sponsors we've had on board, I can't fault every single one of them. Lochos Comps, Eyes Wide Open Clothing, Super Resin and stuff like that. Without them, we wouldn't create what we're creating because they've supported us, do you know what I mean? And I can't thank them enough. And it's just like you say, we'd love to be at a stage where we have got whatever followers and subscribers, and it helps. It just pays for that, you know what I mean? But that's what people don't understand about podcasting. They think it's all like, it's self-funded, really.
It is, and I'm not making any money at the stage I'm at. It's definitely the bad side of it because it's graft. And it's graft. You're taking on other people's grief. You've got to think of a plan like you've got there. I send my plans out on email like a couple of days before. Make sure that we try and stick to the plan. You've got to stick to a time. Like, I'm paying for time. So, Carl might be saying to me, like, we want to try and keep this episode to an hour or an hour and a half or whatever. Then, it's harder than it looks. And it's definitely not easy.
No, there's still things I can be better at, you know what I mean? And I'm still learning.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? We're 86 episodes and I'm still learning. I could be better, doing this and doing that, but you need a team. You can't, you need a good team.
Yeah.
If anyone who says that they're a one-man band and whatever, I'd like to see it because I couldn't do all this without him, without Ben. Like
you, I can't do the tech.
I can't.
I'm terrible with the tech. Same with you talking. I could talk a glass eye to sleep. But honestly, with the other side of it, I can't do it. I can talk.
Yeah.
The talking tradesman, do you know him?
Yeah.
So he does his own.
He does everything.
Yeah.
Do you know what he thought? He started following us actually. Yeah.
He does his own, and I'm like, how have you got? Because he's working still.
I know. Yeah. I've seen it.
Painting and decorating, and then he's got the podcast. He's got his own studio, and he does all his own editing. And I'm not, mate.
Have you got time to do? It's because it's like I say to Ben. He goes, Tony. We could, whatever episode we've had episodes that have been nearly 3 hours and stuff, and it's like when he's like, and he gets the reels right, he gets this right and gets that right. I wouldn't know where to start, mate. You know what I mean? It's like you said, it's hard graft. People don't understand the logistics of it all. They just think you put a camera on and that's it.
But also, I don't want to know. I'm not interested in it. It doesn't light me up. I'm bored. So show me if you want, but I'm not interested. So I'd rather just pay someone to do that.
Yeah.
Because I've got to.
I'm hopeless.
Yeah.
He'll send me stuff and I'll go, oh, how'd you do this?
Yeah,
He's got to send me a tutorial or something because I'm coney at it.
Voice notes me or asks me stuff and I'm like, don't ask me that. You know me well enough by now. Just do what you've got to do.
I
don't want to know about the technical side of things. Uploading, I can do this and I can upload it, I can do this. Yeah, just do it. You know what you're talking about. I don't.
Yeah.
And I don't want to know. That's too much for me to take in.
Yeah, you've got enough going on. Is there any guests? Who's your top 3 guests that you'd love to have on?
I'm going to be controversial with this. People are going to not like me.
Go on.
Tommy Robinson. Just because I want to ask him. I want to ask, because a lot of people say he's far-right racist and blah, blah, blah. But what I've seen isn't the case. I might not have seen everything.
Yeah.
And that's, But I know he went on Andrew Gold's Heretics recently. I don't know if you watched any clips of it. So Andrew Gold has got the Heretics podcast channel, and he had him on recently. And what he was talking about, I was mind blown, and I was thinking, I want him on.
Yeah.
Bonnie Blue.
Bonnie Blue.
Did you watch it? Did you watch the documentary?
I've not. Do you know what? I've
seen it, like?
What?
You seen it?
I've not. You told me about it. Like he told.
I haven't seen it.
Watch it. It's good.
No, it's not meant.
Yeah.
Good. He mentioned it to me like for us. I've not watched it. Bonnie Blue.
So she's basically like. She's gone really controversial, hasn't she?
I've seen some of the reels and stuff, and just.
And the hate in the comments are ridiculous. Like she shagged over 1,000 men in a day, whatever, and the hate and the comments. But I watched it and I was just like, she's a businesswoman.
Do you know what? And when you say it like that, a businesswoman.
Sex sells.
Listen.
It
the
always
sex
has,
work's
and it
the
always
sex
will.
work's always been around.
Yeah.
It's always been around. And it's sort of been like a little bit of a taboo, you know what I mean? Oh, do you know what I mean? But I think with what what Bonnie Blue does is like, see all these young lads and even young girls of today now, who did we have on? And what she spoke about, she was saying about, we had a lady on last week, Jessica.
Oh, I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah,
yes.
right. We had Jessica on, and she pointed out a really good point. And like saying about saying, like, you know, gives lads young lads, young in school and all that, gives them that sort of mind thing of like thinking, you know, going and doing certain sex acts and, you know, not all that. She said certain things, I think Bonnie Blue, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm certain she did, and it was like, but it's given young lads the wrong mentality to think doing that during sex is right, because it's you know what I mean? So I sort of got where she was coming from, and I was like, well, when you think of it like that,
Yeah.
and it comes across like that, it's not setting a good example, really. Sex has always been about, you know what I mean? And
it will always sell.
But it's just like, to the degree of like, what, you know, I was just like, wow, that's like, whatever you do behind closed doors, whatever people do behind closed doors, that's their business. That's my look at it, you know what I mean? If you want to do whatever you do behind closed doors, that's up to you. But I just think, it's like, I don't even know what to, I think, what you're saying, she's a businesswoman and she's earning an awful lot of money from it. Okay, fair enough, but it's because it's there on social media.
But
and
the hate she's getting, it's like, all right, if you don't like it, fucking
how does she deal with that though?
She seems fine.
I just think, you know, I think she puts herself in a position where a lot of people say this. What's name news is good, you know what I mean? What's the
There's
saying?
no such thing as bad publicity.
And I think she thrives off it.
And you know what? Even her mum was on this documentary, and her mum
apparently her mum was there. Well,
and her mum says, like, she's not, you know, broken. She's not got daddy issues. She just wanted to do this, and she's making a shitload of money.
She had one fella before she became Bonnie Blue as well. I think she was with like her ex.
Wasn't she married or?
She got married, yeah.
Yeah, she was.
And then they broke up, and she was like, right, well, you know.
Yeah. And then she's just, I know people like, you know, marriages break down or relationships break down and all that, and people, fuck me, the way she's gone like a domino through the fucking old.
That's like a meme, innit? Where she goes like, I became a total fucking slave.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to what's name, but it's like,
it's hilarious.
It's mad, isn't it? Yeah. But so Tommy Robinson, Bonnie Blue,
Ricky Gervais.
He's
my number one, man. He's just my, I love comedy.
Yeah.
So I like going to watch stand-up. I like watching, you know, comedy on the telly. I like one-liners.
Yeah.
It's how I cope, I think.
I think comedy's what's the name for everyone. It gives everyone, if you're having a shit day or whatever, it can just turn you, you know, you could go to a comedy night or whatever, and or you watch a comedy show on the telly and something, and it just cheers you up.
And a lot of it's been like, fucking took off now. Like
yeah.
Little Britain and Catherine Tate, like, just fucking comedy gold. You know, like, I love that kind of stuff.
That's what I think. A lot of people like all that stuff, but now again, it's that thing
it's all
again.
Got cancelled.
It's all you're not allowed to say that, and it offends fucking, you know, Tom, Dick, Harry, whatever. You know what I mean?
But again, it's okay to be offended. You know, if you see something and you don't like it, just fucking move on. Who cares?
But people want to put the 10 pence worth in and just get involved in something that doesn't really, and it just blows a fucking, you know, a mountain into a, you know what I mean, a molehill into a mountain, whatever you want to say. You just think, fuck's sake, but
yeah, that'd be fucking goals for
them three would be yours.
Yeah.
The good, the bad, and the ugly, and all what you've done.
Do you know the people I've met through the police and memories through that? Honest to God, I don't slag off the police. You know, if I was in trouble, the first people I'd phone would be the police.
But you're not happy the way things.
I wouldn't have the utmost confidence in the system. I'll admit that, because I haven't got my utmost confidence in the system.
That's why you wanted it out.
Because it's broken.
Yeah, that's why you wanted out, wasn't it?
Yeah. But I would probably phone 999 if I had to. Do you know what I mean? So, despite that, the good, you know, I've had some good days, man.
Yeah.
Like 20 years, I've got some cracking memories. Me and my brother have like been talking about writing a sitcom, and he says to me, the stories you've told me, we could. Do you ever watch things like This Country or The Office or real like sitcoms that are like, they're pretty low level really, but they're brassic, things like that.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, fucking hell, you could write something like this. And I could, because it's all up there. He's just having the time. But that's the good side of it, you know. There's been some cracking times, but then there's bad that's come with it. The things I've seen, the way it's affected my mental health, the way I haven't been looked after as a result, the way I've had to source all the help myself, and the ugly side of it, you know, like I was saying, the system's broken.
Yeah,
it's a broken system. The justice isn't served often enough, and the way it is served is arse about face. Do you know what I mean? Like you say, people are getting a suspended sentence for this, but they're going to prison for that. You know,
that's the ugly side, isn't it? That's what it's like for you. But what's family life like today for you?
So I've got 2 boys, teenage boys. So they live with me. And me and the dad get on great now. We're divorced, but we get on well. He recently remarried. Kids are really happy.
Are they Blues or Villa?
Villa. Not against. I've got lots of mates that are Blues, but we're a Villa house.
Villa household, yeah.
But you know, they're doing really well in school. They're not angels. I get emails pretty much every day about behaviour and whatnot.
Whose kids don't?
Yeah, it's trivial shit as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. So we're coping, heads above water. You know, I'm working 3 jobs. You know,
you're doing the best you can.
Yes, exactly. But we've got a happy house. We have.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah, and we've got a very, very happy home. It's just me and them. And we've got a big American bulldog, Juno. She comes on the podcast with me sometimes. You'll see her on my Instagram. So she's my best mate. I was going to bring her. I nearly messaged you and said.
Hell.
I nearly messaged you and said, What's the sketch on dogs?
Oh,
imagine
me and him would probably shit ourselves.
She'd be up here.
I would. My missus is the same with our dog. We've got a dog, Daisy. It's nothing worse. I've got to take her out and I'm fucking shouting Daisy, and everyone's looking at me walking down with this dog called Daisy.
But it's, you know, I've got a nice life. I'm very grateful for where I am. It's funny because like naturally, my ex-husband's just got remarried. You know, I've just turned 40, and I took myself away on a solo weekend because I thought I need to just be away. Like, I don't know how I'm going to feel. He's been in my life for 20 years. He's getting married. Everything's good. But what if I wake up and I'm upset? I wasn't. But I went away for a little solo, and while I was away, I woke up on the day of the wedding, and I just felt the happiest and the most content I've ever felt. And I thought, yeah, you are exactly where you need to be.
What was it like doing that solo trip on your own? Because I know, like, you know...
It's the second one I've done. I went to Ibiza on my own last year. Fucking loved it. And then I've done this one this year on my own. I want to do one every year if I can.
Yeah.
It's honestly, I've got such a busy life. And I'm not
Time
sure,
for yourself and just to reflect and all that.
Yeah, like so many... When I went to Ibiza on my own, everyone was like, I'd come with you. I was like, no, you don't get it. Like, I'd then have to consider your thoughts and your feelings and when you're tired and when you're hungry, and I don't fucking want to do that.
I just want to do my own thing, my own pace.
Please myself.
Yeah.
If I'm hungry, I want to eat. If I'm tired, I want to sleep. If I want to go and get pissed, I'll get pissed. I didn't. But like, I just pretty much chilled the whole time, got creative, like, you know, with my writing and whatever I was doing, and just enjoyed the time I was away. And I didn't feel lonely. I'm too busy to feel lonely, and I don't want to have to consider anybody else.
No, that's that. You know what though? But you're just being honest, and when you put it like that, a lot of people, you know, could probably take something from that, because some people don't put themselves first, and you know what I mean, because they're so busy and this, that, and the other, and just taking themselves away. I'm not saying go abroad or whatever, but they take themselves away and have a couple of days and just switch off from everything because they're so busy in what they're doing. And did you feel so much better doing that? Like,
I absolutely loved it.
You come back up like $1 million.
Well,
like,
the first time I went, I did 5 days in Ibiza, and the boys were on holiday with their dad for 10 days, and I went in the middle. I could have stayed for a fucking month. I didn't want to come home. I was like, this is brilliant. I was in Ibiza, it was hot. I was just doing my own thing. You get talking to people because, of course, you know, like that weekend went on a few weeks ago. I've made friends with all the locals in the pub. Like, my mum's rang me and she's gone, how are you getting on your own? I was like, oh, I've just made friends with all the locals. And she's gone, yeah, of course you have. She just knows what I'm going to be like, you know, because I just get chatting to everyone. So I'm not lonely.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to consider someone, because that's what I spend my life doing. So I just want to switch off from it and just think, no.
I like your honesty. You know, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. What's in the pipeline for Hayley Owens?
Oh, well, I don't know where it's going to go. With the spin business, I've always had a clear vision of where I want it to go. You know, I've got the CIC set up now, so We're getting some funding for that. I want to take my classes online. I want to start doing more of that stuff. There's always been a clear vision. With the podcast, there's never been so much of a clear vision. I want to do more TV stuff. So like with the GB News contacting me last night saying, will you come on? Like, I want to do more stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily want to talk about politics so much, but like
certain topics.
Certain topics, yes. I want to do a bit more TV stuff. Sean Atwood said to me, you've got to write a book. You've got to write a book because you've got so many stories. So that will come eventually. I wanted to have, I've been applying to newspapers and stuff to get a Spin Justice column because I thought that'd be wicked, you know, just talk about stuff, but not make it too heavy. Just whatever. Probably write that sitcom at some point.
Fucking busy, you've got it all going on, you. No, but you know what? That's brilliant. It's good to have them. You know, you want to do something, and you know you've got so many plans and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And why can't you do it?
Yeah, world's your oyster. Do what you want.
You know, why can't you do it? And you know what? It's just I've got to like you think you know someone by watching them and stuff like that. But listen, I've really enjoyed that episode because you know we got to know a little bit more about you. You know, involved with the police, but also we had a joke and laugh along the way with some of the stories and stuff. But the podcasting as well, and you know why you started it and where you want to go and what was the backstory behind it. And you know I really enjoyed this episode. You know what I mean? It's like we've known each other, like, you know what I mean? And it's just like really enjoyed that episode.
Me
Hayley.
too, yeah.
So what I just want to say, thank you so much for sharing the good, the bad and the ugly.
Thank you. Thanks
thank you
for
so
having
much.
me.